to thank you for giving us a very good overview about situation in China. I learned a lot of things there.
Yeah.
Would like to hear from the audience. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. What do you think will the new Silk Road have impact on the population in China, or any other trends there?
Impact on the population of China?
Yeah, maybe the distribution.
Okay, thank you, Alden. Yeah, you mentioned about this is two things. The important subject. One is in China we call it Belt and Road Initiative. Yeah, and of course another one is the population. To answer your question in short, I would say it has little impact on the distribution of China. In short, let me give you a little bit more elaboration. Why was that? Because in the Silk Road Initiative, we have two routes. One is the maritime one, which it has several starting points. One is from the eastern China, the one near Shanghai, and then the southern starting point is from Pearl River Delta area. You remember that's where I am, near Hong Kong. So in this maritime Silk Road, it still focused on the coastal part of China. And then if we are talking about the inland part, where it connects some ex-Soviet republics, the mid-Asia. Yes, right now China is building up the what we call continent bridge. It's actually the international railway system, starting all over, utilizing the railway system all over China, and then it also connect with Xinjiang as an exit, then connect with the several Middle Asia countries, then going through to all Middle Asia and even connect with EU. Yeah, I was involved in some of these projects locally, but to cut it short, it has a great impact on the growth of business. But I would say it has very little impact on the distribution of population in a big way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any one of you would like to raise some questions?
I have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you talked a lot about doing business in China, and I was just curious, say if one of us were to do business in China, whether you had advice on dealing with the differences in culture and, working in an international group and team, kind of, if you had any just, little experiences or advice on that kind of thing.
Yes, I would say I have a lot to share with you by sharing with you my personal experiences alone. I would say it may take at least half a day if Chris gives me the time. For your information, I'm a local person working in Foshan, a medium city in China, and the first experience is when I start my work 30 plus years ago, I start with the SOE, state-owned companies, for about 6 years. And then I'm not very happy about this, and then I move on. When I decide to move on, the Osram come in. Osram, the lighting company of Siemens, a German company, came to China and invested in Foshan. Then I came, and I worked there for 14 years. 10 years for international business and 4 years in domestic business. And then after that, I worked in the private sector, and then I became an entrepreneur. I can tell you, let's give German company for example, working in China. The culture differences are tremendous in terms of culture, and it's a both way. Both Chinese people need to learn from the international counterparts, not only German, but also a lot of international counterparts. We really need to learn to understand why you European guys think this way, why you do this. And also on the other side, the international colleagues, when they came to China, they also need to understand why Chinese people behave like this, why something sounds strange in Western world is considered as very normal in China. So it's a both-way interaction, first one. Second, there are quite a lot of cultural differences, discussions, and advisors in China on the for the business people, or in particular for Western people, yeah, for people in Europe or Japan or USA coming into China. They're first and foremost, they must have this personal experiences, like me or many better talents. They're more experienced in cultural differences, yeah. And these are. And the third one is a dynamic process. It's a dynamic process. I would say it's never ending. Why was that? Because let me give you one more example. One Italian manufacturer, the ceramic equipment manufacturer, the CEO, he has been educated. He received his MBA in China, in international program, and he works in China for 10 years. And once he told me that, he said so, almost quoted, yeah. He said, I think this younger generation, 20s, 30s, are easier counterparts for me because they are more open-minded. They are more willing to share with me his information, yeah. And they are more willing to accept this flat organization, not that kind of typical hierarchies, yeah. Because especially typically in eastern part of, in East Asia, China, Japan, Korea, and even some in Taiwan, Singapore, all these Confucius influenced societies, more hierarchies. But right now, the younger generation, even in China, grown up in China, they are more willing to or accustomed to the a flat organization. But somehow they are not that open as you guys or girls in the Western world. Sometimes they need some encouragement to speak out. It's like the door after you. You need to open up the door, and then if you open up the door, then they're willing to speak. If you cannot open up the door, then they may not speak to you at all. So it's a very short answer for your profound question, Kate. Thank you. I can only give such a short brief. Yeah. I'm really glad that you raised questions because there are too many things to be discussed. Anyone would like to give me some questions?
To expand on that a little bit, is there what is the best way to provide space and promote comfort for our Chinese counterparts to feel comfortable in speaking up and developing that relationship that you just mentioned?
What is the best way? In China, actually, we have a saying called harmony with diversity. We have a saying in of course Chinese, and we can literally translate it into English. Harmony yet with differences. That means actually in the traditional essence of China's philosophy that you can trace back to 2,000 years ago, we have this kind of tradition in our DNA. Even if we are different from you, at the first glance, we are still willing to be accommodating. Yeah, this is the very essence of the Chinese concept of harmony. But how can you achieve this kind of, let's say, chemistry when you communicate with Chinese people? I think another word is very important: sincerity. Because especially the younger generation of the Chinese people, they have accepted and they have seen, I mean, they have been exposed and seen a lot of international materials. Not always 100% on synchronized, but they have seen a lot. So those things happening in Europe, in Switzerland, or in Thailand, or in Canada, or in USA, they can receive it in minutes. I mean, in minutes or in hours, and sometimes it becomes even a topic for them. And some of them are even very experienced with that. So, if you would like to show your sincerity, yeah, to discuss with them, but at the same time you're open-minded to talk about the differences, of course, in a softer way, then I think you will achieve kind of a good relationship with the Chinese people. Not too long, but may not be at the very first 3 minutes, but it would take a little bit faster. Yeah. So in short, to answer your question, achieving a very good relationship with Chinese people is not that difficult, but of course it takes time, patience, sometimes patience, and of course a willingness to be accommodating. It's a both side interaction. So Nicola, thank you for your question.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Enrico.
Okay.
If I would like to do business in China, what I have to consider with the government, so regarding government power, regulation, etc.
It's a very good question, and of course it's a very important question. Right now we know government has a lot of regulation on the business, on many sectors. Yeah, everybody, I think most of you knows that, on the entertainment, on internet, on even they even regulate recently. They even regulate the power industry. So and sometimes there are some hiccups. Everybody knows that some industries suffer. Yeah, in China we call it a market. We call it a market economy with the Chinese statistics, Chinese characteristics in China. And in China, from the central government to provincial to city government, they have different layers of powers to justify themselves according to the law or regulations to regulate some sectors of the business. And to answer your questions in short, I can only say, first, you must keep the word compliance in your mind. Second, when you follow the rules and regulations and laws of the government, better consult with your reliable partner. That's why my only suggestion, to make it very short, you better don't do it alone in China. Find a joint venture partner, a reliable partner, reputable partner who has a relatively long time record, a good record, decent business people, decent business organization to work with you, so that they will give you a lot of assistance. Actually, due to the time constraint, I cannot give you more example. But even in Foshan, some of my friends who is a foreigner and American Mexican people, their company is working very well with the Chinese government, even appreciated by the government officials in the district level, city level, yeah, who support their business. Why was that? Because they have the right partner, and this partner is also a decent business people, a decent business entity in the eyes of the Chinese government, consumer, and business stakeholders. So, government relationship or government role is very important, and in the foreseeable future, I would say even more important, even play a bigger role in the foreseeable future. But again, if you want to come into China to do business, there is no way that you should bypass. It's part of the weight in your balance. You need to consider it, and of course when you play a constructive, when you are seen by the Chinese government and business community and even the consumers, when you are seen as a positive and constructive role, then you will also get rewarded. What I mentioned in this one, it's nothing strategic. It's just a ceramic tile business maker. He is a ceramic tile, just a common commodity, right? He came from, its headquarters is in Mexico, and it has a lot of business in the whole North America, Canada, USA, and Mexico. And they brought in the investment some 10 years ago, and I would say they thrive. They really make money. They make their reputation. And the local government officials are willing to support within their jurisdiction. And they are received also by the business community locally very positively. I mean, these business people, the Chinese business people, are not stupid. They know who is right, who is wrong, who is good, who is bad. Yeah, as I said, a lot of people have been exposed internationally for a long time. Some of them even study and work in Western world and then came back to China. And then they know, okay, this brand is good and this business entity is good, and they're willing to accept, or even they encourage them to grow. So yeah, I mean, I can't say too much, but I really understand it's a very, I mean, the government involvement or regulation is a major topic in the Western world on this, yet there are still means and ways to work it out legally.
Yep. Thanks, and thanks, Ken, for sharing with us. The last question, maybe it's 11:29 here in Vancouver. So last questions, maybe for Ken.
Okay, before I slept. Yeah.
The last question.
Okay.
As we're informed in Europe, we know that the Chinese government is doing huge efforts for sustainability.
Yeah.
So huge efforts. I mean, clean water, transporting from one part of China to the other. It's really famous how strong they want to get there. Does the necessary of all these efforts appear to the population?
Excuse me?
Does the population understand, I mean the broad population, how important sustainability is?
Okay.
Actually, I mean like the mainstream. I don't mean the people who are intelligent, who study a lot. Of course they know. I mean the broad population.
Okay, I get your point. To answer your questions in short, yes. You know why? Let me give you one example, my personal experience. As I mentioned, we are living in Foshan, and Foshan used to be a stronghold for making ceramic tiles. And in making ceramic tiles, we can compare with Bologna of Italy and Foshan. This in the ceramic industry, it's always considered as the two major areas. And when we guys visit Italy, Bologna, they will see, oh, these Italian people can enjoy the coffee or wine just near the factory, near your ceramic factory. While in Foshan, I will remind you that I will recall some 20 or 15 years ago, if you came to Foshan, the next minute, then you will smell the foul air. Your polish shoes will be dirt. Your white collar of will become dead dirty, and the sky is never ever blue. Only with two exceptions. One, Chinese New Year, because all the factories stopped for two weeks or 1 month. Second, when we have the typhoon. When we have the typhoon, we have the heavy rain to blow it up, and then 2 days later, again, really heavy pollution, and more and more people are really fed up. I mean, you talk about the people in the street, like people, yeah? No need to be really sophisticated, educated, or top government officials. You ask the people in the street, they are really saying, we are really fed up. And even in China, we have a saying, we have time to make money, but we don't have time to spend it, because when you got the cancer or whatever, finish. So, out of the bottom of the heart of the most of the population, yeah. Recently, China has the initiative to clean up, to have the clean sky, to have a green mountain, to have the clear water. This is one of the most supported policies in China, sincerely. And of course, when you have to cut the industries, some people will get hurt. A few, yeah. And I never say this transition is always perfect. It's always smooth, but it always hurt a little bit. But if you ask me, I can say, let's say, if there is a referendum, or if you ask any people in the street, then I would say 90 or 95% of the people will say, oh yeah, good, we should have a better environment. But of course, to extend a little bit longer, excuse me, when you talk about the peak of the carbon, or by 2030, because Chinese government, the President Xi has made two promises, yeah, 2030 and 2060. One is the peaking of the mountain peak, yeah, the peaking of the carbonization, and also the neutralization of the carbon, and that is one of the reasons that we have power shortages. Of course, there are many other reasons, yeah. Not too many people understand the essence of these two concepts until now. Not too many, but you should give some time for people to understand new concepts. If you're talking about, are you willing to, if you ask the people in the street, are you willing to make more money, have a chance to make more money, but at the same time you must live in a very highly polluted place where you easily get cancer, your kids will have a lot of problems of health, then most of the people will say no. It's very clear. And by the way, sometimes people would really they feel the benefit. They really feel the benefit, both environmentally and sometimes even economically, from this environmental protection. Yeah, but of course we know environmental protection is not cheap. You need to spend money, but of course this would create another business opportunities for those people both in China and also in the Western countries. Yeah, if you are doing this kind of business, it's a great opportunity. Yeah.
And thanks a lot for answering all the questions. Ken, I think we learned a lot from you today. Thanks a lot, and it's really interesting to hear from you, and to make a link with previous talks that we had, and especially Chief TV this morning. It's like it's always important to learn from others. When we want to do business with another company, another country, another community, it's very important to learn and to know about what are the practices, how do they operate, and this kind of things. And that's very interesting. Thanks a lot for sharing with us. Let's just take the time now. So I think it's very late for you.
Okay.
All of us, we really thank you. I think it's 2 p.m. for you, 2:30 p.m. So we really thank you for being there, still awake. We will let you go to sleep. Have a good night.
Yeah.
And, we keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
And again, it's really quite a good experience for me. It's the first time that I deliver an online presentation to people in three continents, right? In Asia, some Asian people listening in Bangkok, and others in Canada, and also in Europe. It's really exciting for me. So I did some preparation. I'm really glad that you like it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chris, and all of you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. So, well,